No time to waste. Pickle. Hit the area sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout.
Oh, that's just cringeworthy.
Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. And quite a bit to get to, folks. We'll start with my 3 big thoughts. Thought number 1, the wildest first round in modern Texas high school football history.
I would agree with this.
So, you and I were not together on Friday.
No.
You were off at your game in Austin?
No.
San Antonio?
No.
Houston?
Yes.
Nailed it. Third try.
I had the Bridgeland game. It was awesome.
That's right. You had the Bridgeland game. And I want to be very clear. I want to be careful here because I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, right? I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment and say, oh, wow, like the thing that happened most recently is the most amazing thing. It's the most amazing thing that's ever happened. Because it's not true. That's not necessarily true. But upon further review and upon a little bit of soul searching and a little bit of research, I think I'm ready to declare this past weekend the wildest first round in modern Texas high school football history.
Yep.
How I would define modern is since they started taking 4 teams in the playoffs. Okay. Since then, I don't know that we've ever had this wild of a week or in the first round. Because normally, as you know, the first round can be a bit snoozy.
Yeah, you'll get, a handful. But we'll say 5 games that are really kind of okay.
Yes.
But
you'll have a few.
Not this.
You'll have a few. But what you won't have are just a slew of earth-shattering, bracket-busting, calamity-inducing upsets.
Especially on the Thursday night.
Thursday night
wild.
Got crazy town banana pants.
Yeah.
And Friday night didn't sober up all that much.
No, it really didn't.
I'll say that. We have, I believe the grand total is 26 fourth place teams won their first round playoff game. Okay? Now, some of them come with a little bit of an asterisk. Burton beat Christoville. Now, that knocks out my Region 4 pick, which I thought I was being a cool hipster and picking Christoville to win Region 4. But Burton is a different situation because Burton, you may remember, they are now 9-1 on the field, but they had to forfeit 10 or 7 games or something like that, or maybe they're 10-1 on the field now. But they were not your average fourth place team. But you certainly had ones that I think are earth-shattering. Mm-hmm. Among them, Tomball over Cy Ranch, or Cy Park, rather.
Yes.
Another of my regional finalists, kaput.
Yeah, your brackets got hit
blasted
hard.
into the sun. Tomball, who, remember, we had in the picks video in Week 11 because they were in a win or go home Week 11 game. Mm-hmm. Cale Helms just puts on the cape and decides to knock out Cy Park.
And that wasn't I watched that whole thing. It wasn't a fluke. That was legitimately they were the better team.
Tomball was the better
whole
team.
way.
Tomball was the better team.
Like,
that's
never a doubt.
One that flew under people's radar, Georgetown beat Dripping Springs.
Yeah.
Unbeaten state-ranked Dripping Springs, and Georgetown beat them 62-55 in a wild shootout, which actually tracks.
Yep.
As somebody who saw Georgetown in Week 11, I was like, that team can score. Mm-hmm. That team can score. I have questions about their defense. That team can score. And they were able to get into a dogfight and a shootout, a firefight with Dripping Springs and come away with the win. We had teams like Tyler Legacy handing Garland the dreaded 10-1.
Yep.
Right? We had teams like San Antonio East Central beating San Antonio Reagan. Now, Reagan, I think, was on their third quarterback, so a small asterisk there. Don't tell that to East Central. Nope. They ain't got to apologize for nothing. You had Saginaw Boswell taking down Hazlitt Eaton. You had Prosper getting white hot and beating Flower Mound Marcus.
Mm-hmm. In overtime.
Right? What Barbers Hill?
Yep.
What Barbers Hill or Fort Bend Marshall?
Talk about a bracket buster.
I mean,
for
everyone.
Checks notes, every single person.
We all had Fort Bend Marshall winning that region.
Yep.
And Barbers Hill gets the job done. Mm-hmm. And then there was the one that I think really caught everybody's attention.
Yeah, the
biggest one.
Bracket buster.
And that was Stanton beating Childress.
Yes.
We talked with Cody Hogan on Scoreboard on Friday night.
That was a good interview.
When I say this, guys, I mean what I'm saying here. That is Stanton over Childress, state-ranked number 3 undefeated Childress, fresh off their win over Canadian, fresh off their district championship. That is the largest upset period in Texas high school football this season, period. Okay? It's the biggest one. They're 47-point dogs. Okay? They were 7 touchdown underdogs, according to the Dave Campbell's computer. They just hauled off and beat them. Okay? And so, when you take a look at the rubble that is now strewn about us in the Texas high school football world, yes, look, a lot of teams took care of their business. Alito won. Shiner and Refugio won. Mart won. A lot of teams took care of their business. In fact, we didn't lose a defending champ.
Nope.
We didn't lose.
We didn't lose any. Someone tweeted that.
None of us lost a state championship pick. But just on that next layer, there was unbelievable chaos, the likes of which we have never, ever seen in modern Texas high school football history in the first round. Thought number 2. Stop talking about Texas like a power program.
Yeah. Like there's no other way to put it.
So Saturday night, I went to a wedding.
Oh, nice. And
I came home, and I was able to catch the fourth quarter and overtime of the Texas game against Kansas. Kansas won, by the way, if you didn't know, in overtime. And I get on Twitter afterwards, and there is all of this, like, going nuts and, like, dunking on Texas and just, like, going crazy about, oh, my gosh, Kansas beat Texas. Can you believe it? Oh, my gosh, how the mighty have fallen. And the only thing I'm thinking of is, like, why is this a big deal? It's time we change the conversation about the Texas Longhorns, guys. Texas, since 2014, is now 52-39. They're 52-39 since 2014. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, Pickle. They're not 52-39. They're, in fact, 52-45. They're worse than that. Do you know who's 52-39? Arizona State.
Yeah,
Do we talk about Arizona State in hushed tones whenever they get beat at home by a team they should beat? No. And they've been better than Texas for the better part of the last decade. And yet, I think everybody gets hung up on Texas because there's the big ego, there's a lot of money, they've got recent success and things like that. But the bottom line of it is that bad teams and bad programs lose games they shouldn't. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And it's time that we, and this is a habit I have to break. I think this is a habit everybody has to break. But we just got to quit talking about it like that. We don't talk about USC in those same ways. Texas and USC are functionally in the same boat in a lot of ways, right? We don't talk about Nebraska in that same way.
No. I think,
kind of a similar situation.
Well,
they've had historic success, but just because they've had historic success does not make them a healthy program right now. That's a rotten program right now.
No, and what has to happen is there has to be a loss in that caliber to open people's eyes to the shifting tides. Like, you can sit there and we can talk about that record and how terrible it is. But, yeah, in order to actually break the mindset of how people look at Texas, it takes a loss to a 1-8 Kansas program to do that.
Texas is not a power program right now, guys. Maybe they will be soon. But it's just like the assumption that they are and then treating them as such, it's just got to change, because right now it's shaping the narrative in a way that I just don't think is factual and reflective of the facts on the ground. I mean, they are like I said, they are worse than Arizona State over the past 7 plus years.
The not noticing the longevity of this.
Yeah, since Mac Brown left, they are Arizona State. So treat them like Arizona State. And thought number 3, a moment for the forgotten and the far-flung. One of the reasons I like 4 teams making the playoffs in the Texas high school football playoffs, one of the reasons I like it is that you end up giving an opportunity for programs and teams that we haven't talked about in a long time to get a moment in the spotlight, to have an opportunity to make some headlines, to make some waves, right? And this is a moment for teams that are never go like that don't get that kind of spotlight in a normal situation. I'll give you an example, and that was what the game that Matt Stepp was at on Saturday. Matt Stepp was down there watching San Antonio Lanier being San Antonio Southside. And you're probably thinking, if you're not from San Antonio, you're probably thinking like, okay, who cares? Like the Vokes beat San Antonio Southside. Who cares? That is the first playoff win for San Antonio ISD since 2012. Mm-hmm. That's a moment to celebrate. How about an Eagle Pass?
Yeah.
Both Eagle Pass and Eagle Pass win get victories in the first round of the playoffs. It's the first time ever that both programs have played into the second round the same year. That's awesome. And we're about to talk to one of the coaches. It was a tremendous week for El Paso.
Yeah.
El Paso Eastwood goes and beats Abilene in the playoffs at Shotwell. That is the first El Paso team to beat an Abilene team in the playoffs since 1937.
Lord.
El Paso Riverside gets their by-district win. Mm-hmm. El Paso Chapin comes back and beats El Paso Amarillo Caprock. And who was the other one? There was another El Paso team that was of note. It was, let me see, I tweeted about it. But it was a tremendous week for El Paso. And so for me, that is what this, the other one I was thinking about, Eastlake took down San Angelo Central. Mm-hmm. Those are the stories worth celebrating. Those are the things that give you an opportunity to get excited about those programs and give them their moment in the spotlight. That's another reason why I like 4 teams in the playoffs is you've got these areas that maybe you don't think about a lot. When's the last time you thought about Eagle Pass football?
Yeah.
Great. It's party time in Maverick County.
Mm-hmm.
3 big thoughts. 3 helmet stickers. A helmet sticker to Stephenville quarterback Ryder Lambert. It was not a surprise that Stephenville won this game.
No.
He throws for 373 yards and 5 touchdowns. He had a 14-yard touchdown run. The stat I want to throw out to you, Pickle. Did you see this? Mm-hmm. 20 pass attempts, 20 completions.
Yeah,
that's efficiency.
That's insane.
Excellent stuff.
Shout out to his receivers, too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Takes 2 to tango. Ryder Lambert for Stephenville, a helmet sticker. A helmet sticker to Texas Tech kicker Jonathan Garibay.
62 yards.
Right. I told you I was at a wedding.
Yeah.
I was at a wedding. It was an Aggie wedding, so they had a TV outside where there were people crowded around watching the Ole Miss game, but they were not watching, as you can probably imagine, the end of Texas Tech and Iowa State.
No.
Right? And so I checked my phone. At the end, I knew Iowa State was like mounting this big comeback. Uh-huh. I'm like, oh no, this is not going to go great for Tech. And I checked my phone in the middle of during the reception. I was like, oh hey, Tech won 41-38, some of that. And then I looked at it. I was like, what?
What? Yep.
Jonathan Garibay, a 62-yard bomb.
Dude, he sailed it
to win the game. Like even have you heard the Tech radio announcers call?
No, I haven't.
The vibe that they've got is very much like, I guess we'll try this.
Yeah.
There's no harm in this, I guess.
And that was to make them eligible to go bowling.
Yes.
Like, how cool is that?
It got about halfway there, and unfortunately, I forget the Tech radio guy. He's been there forever. He's great. He's a great radio guy. But like the kick gets halfway there, and he suddenly starts perking up like,
oh, this could go.
For the first time, he conceived of the idea that this might go in.
Yep.
So Jonathan Garibay, the Texas Tech kicker, gets a helmet sticker and probably does not buy drinks in Lubbock for the rest of the year. And finally, a helmet sticker to Tomball quarterback Cale Helms. We mentioned him. He put on the cape in their win over Cy Park. 137 yards and 2 touchdowns passing, 255 yards and a pair of touchdowns on the ground as Tomball
they could not stop him.
Cy Park. It was a remarkable victory here. Kevin Blanken's squad and Cale Helms was the man at the controls. Teams to watch: Georgetown. Georgetown was part of a few different districts. I believe there were 26 total districts that pulled off the sweep. Mm-hmm. That all 4 of their teams won. They were, of course, the 4th place finisher, knocked off previously unbeaten Dripping Springs. That speaks to the strength, I think, of District 11 5A Division 1. Weiss, Maynard, Georgetown, Cedar Park all won. This is a team with Darson Herman at the quarterback that is going to be a problem for everybody. I have some questions about their defense, but it don't matter. They may be one of those teams that can outscore their problems.
Yeah.
They were tremendous in this game and pulled off the shocker, knocking off the previously unbeaten state-ranked Dripping Springs Tigers. Team to watch. Angelo State we will have words about the selection committees for other divisions, most notably Division 3. How do you leave Hardin Simmons out?
Yeah,
I
idea.
I am extremely upset. But Angelo State gets into the Division 2.
War on selection committees is going to be your new hashtag. He gets his blood boiled. If I ever want to push a button, it's the selection committee button on Greg Tepper.
Just leave it up to the computers, you ding-dongs. Anyway, Angelo, I don't want to take anything away. Angelo State got a big win. They took down, or rather, they are now into the Division 2 playoffs. Keep an eye on them as the Division 2 playoffs get going this week. And finally, Poteet.
Yeah, how about that?
The Aggies get a win in their playoff game. Now, they were favored. I want to be clear. They were the favorite in that game. But did you know, Pickle, that was their first playoff win since 1958?
Yeah.
1958, the Poteet Aggies have their first playoff win since 1958. Congratulations to them.
They got Vanderbilt Industrial.
They do.
This
Should be a big win.
Yeah.
Big game, rather. Maybe a big win. Who knows?
Yeah, we can see.
I don't know. It's probably going to be a good game. 3 to see. College Station and Frisco Lone Star. I have a lot of thoughts on College Station and Frisco Lone Star. Mm-hmm. A lot of it center around, like, this is the real big test for College Station, and if they pass it, then, like...
They're for real.
Then, like, we're talking Arlington. Mm-hmm. Lone Star is battle-tested, but you could also make an argument that their 2 best wins are losses.
Yep.
Right? Alito and Denton Ryan. So, can they get that signature win? That's a huge game that will really shape what the 5A Division 1 bracket looks like.
And I'll be there.
UTSA and UAB. This was the game we had circled before the year.
Yep.
I don't know if any of us... I think we could have dreamed. We could have squinted and seen UTSA undefeated. But we thought that this might be the biggest game in UTSA history. Mm-hmm. This is probably the last big hurdle before Conference USA title game.
Yes.
They can clinch a spot in the Conference USA title game with a win. Massive game down there at the Alamo Dome. It's going to be rocking down there. And finally, in the 6-man ranks, May and Jonesboro.
This is such a banger.
Folks.
This is such a banger.
Folks.
And keep in mind, they're already in the regional semis.
Yeah, this is the regional semis or the area round. Yeah. Don't get people started on what that on what that's called.
What it's called.
This is in the second. Let's just say, okay, it's the second round of the playoffs. We can say that, guys. This is number 1 versus number 2 in the 1A Division 1 bracket. Number 1 versus number 2 in our final postseason rankings. Now playing the second stinking round.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. May and Jonesboro. That's 3 to see. That's Monday Morning Fallout.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.